Welcome to 2.5 Nerds. It's me, Elliot.
And me, Conley.
Hey, what is our Instagram called, Conley?
2.5 Nerds.
Follow us on there. We will do some figure hunts, maybe. We'll even post weird things like our daily lives or just things that we think are funny.
Comic reviews.
Comic reviews, definitely. We're going to talk about UFOs today.
Whee!
So, Conley, I don't understand what a UFO stands for. Like, what does that mean?
An unidentified flying object.
So, like, for me, an unidentified flying object seems interesting, but, like, back in World War II, jets were kind of like that.
Yeah.
Before we go deeper into this, but, like, what I'm saying is that UFOs, we're talking about them before Christ and
After Michael Jackson.
After Michael Jackson or after Christ.
I think he was an alien. I'm kidding.
We will be talking maybe a little bit about aliens, but we really want to save that for a video about like Star Wars and things like that. Mm-hmm. Just to, embrace the love of that series. Franchise is very... I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but he is. I really don't like... Sorry, this is going to get us off topic. I do not like the new...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like what they do with it. Even Mark Hamill himself was like, I don't like what this... Did you hear that?
That's the punching bag outside our room. Anyway,
no, it was like... Ee!
Oh, dang. One of those bears are coming for us.
Ah!
Anyways, let's get on to the video.
Okay, so...
Let's first start with the Egyptians and the pyramids.
Okay, so there is... I can't think what the word. There's a certain word I'm trying to think.
The craftsmanship of the pyramids. Have you heard, like...
Well, a lot of people think that it was, like, they used water and they put, like...
Water to...
Like, move it so they wouldn't have, like... A lot of people think slaves did it. I don't think that. Because, how is there, like, fish in the desert? Like,
fish?
Like, there's, like, fish bones in the desert. So people, they think they use water to move...
The Nile River is really close to... Not close to the pyramids, but it's close enough.
Yeah,
but then they theorized that the river was bigger at that point.
Yeah, but and I got a source, Miss Kokenauer, shout out to Miss Kokenauer. She said that they made this, like, not ramp, but, like, this wall, and they, like, traveled water through, and that's how they, like, shipped some of their, like, cinder, which is...
I believe they definitely used slaves, though, back then.
Well, they did, but not for the pyramids.
I think they might have, though, because think about it.
Well, not for traveling long distances. That's what they did for the water.
When you think about it, like the Bible talks about how the people were enslaved back then to work. So I'm assuming maybe they did that, but like, I feel like the pyramids were definitely like, the craftsmanship is like the key part here.
Yes, and how there's like how are there...
It's hard to do a triangle.
Like,
like it's hard to do a triangle. Like the way they did it it's perfect. Like, the triangle's perfect. Like, back then it would have been better, but because it's, like, older now, it's kind of like, crumbling.
Yeah.
But, like, this is my idea, and we'll go back to you. And I'm sorry. I like to kind of, like,
Steal the spotlight? Yeah, I noticed.
But no, what I'm trying to get at, nerds, is that I think the pyramids might have been a homing beacon. Kind of like from Ancient Aliens, they talk a lot about how the pyramids can be an homing beacon to the aliens.
To tag on to that, I also heard there was like a conspiracy theory where they think that there's this ancient technology like several meters down under these pyramids that are like a homing beacon for like, and that's why there's like so many like UFO reports because it's like a homing beacon.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't.
No, that's perfect. I feel like the pyramids are definitely made by people. I'm not like saying they were, alien made because it's very like out there. But like you got places like down in like Brazil, like South America, Mexico, and then in the United States where we have like
down in Mexico,
like in the general area here where there was buildings before we settled. Where the Pilgrims, destroyed the Indians and stuff, there was pyramids. Like, they talk about how there was this beautiful city and that they, the Indians talk about how they see stars that come down and...
Like comments. Not comments.
But, like...
The comments, how they came flying at you? No. Comments.
The things that fly in the sky. Like
comets?
Shooting stars.
Sorry.
Anyways, they believe that, like, there was these things that came down and, like, talked to people, like... how do you explain this? Like they believe that there was a thing that came from the sky and helped them build it. Like they
it's similar to what the Wakandans think.
Yeah.
Like of Maui. Maui? Yeah, I think Maui. The Panther God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the interesting thing about it is it's not like that. So like cave drawings, right? They explain a lot,
Yes.
right? The Indians did a lot of drawing, so like they see this thing and it's shining through the sky, looking down at them, and they're looking at it and it's giving them ideas how to build their civilization. We're getting off a little bit.
I just had this big brain idea. Okay.
Before...
No, but it's as okay. So what if aliens are just people from the way distant future that go back in time and they look completely different because it's way, way, way in the future. And they come back and they tell us what these are look like. And they're so different from what we think. Like the drawings, like how do you explain how the Sphinx, like what, like it's like some sort of cat, right?
I don't want to be. We're not going to get into this because that's going to get us in a little bit of trouble. But the Sphinx, I'm pretty sure, represented the road of... No, that's the dog god, I'm thinking. Anyways, they had a lot of gods, right? In Egypt. And the only reason I brought up South America and all of that area, like around where the Indians and them, because they kind of were at the same... Like, everything was happening at the same time. So we are going to jump around and talk about these certain events because they do the same thing. Like, if you look at it, they did a map on Ancient Aliens where it's a triangle shape. So it's kind of like Illuminati. Like this ball. It could be the Illuminati, but the ball representing the ball, right? So you got the hold this for me real quick. We're going to do the little triangle thing. So you got down here, you got maybe South America, around there. You got let me think here. You got the United States somewhere, and then you go down here and you got
pinky finger.
Somewhere around here, you got Egypt. But when they did a line cross, it looks like they're doing like a triangle. Like, that's how the pattern looks. And so what they theorize is think of this as like the ship. But they think it could be the Illuminati, but do the triangle thing real quick. They believe that aliens used a thing like a teleportation thing, where they would fly through the water.
Oh my God!
And come through and teleport quickly. So they're not using all their fuel. So that's what they theorize, that it's kind of like a triangle. Like all these pyramids kind of made like a...
Do you think that's how they came up with pyramid schemes?
No, but you know what I mean? Like what I'm talking about. It's like, it's literally a triangle that they believe that's like opens a portal in the water where we can't see. Because none of us know how deep it is in the water. So like, maybe there's a city in there. Just...
Atlantis
was... Anyways, you had something to do with the Bible, right?
Yes. There is a Bible story about a man named Ezekiel. And he saw this wheel. It was like this...
Quick question. How important is Ezekiel in the Bible? I'm just asking because maybe some people out there aren't, you know...
No.
No, don't read the Bible as much. It's like...
I actually don't know... Well, put me on the spot here, man. I don't remember a lot about Ezekiel other than they had just... Oh, my brain. I think they had just fought a war and he was resting and God gave him this vision or something.
Because I remember what you were reading with me. There was a lot about doing with animals and things. He does have the reading. So
I got it right here. I'll look at it.
So we're going to listen to the reading because I think it's a good...
Oh, gosh.
It's a good...
source?
It's a good source to talk about aliens. And I've been interrupting Conley a lot here, and I feel bad about that. I'm trying to work on that. It's just we both got really... Like, we kind of feed off that energy. Are you ready, sir?
Yes. Okay. Blah, 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 blah.
The cops!
The cops! It's the Illuminati!
Go with the world.
The word of the Lord came expressively onto Ezekiel, the priest of the sun, Booza. Boozy.
We'll go with Booza.
Booza. No, I think it's Beezy.
Beezy?
In the land of the Chaldeans, by the river Chibar,
Chibar.
and the hand of the Lord was upon him. And I looked, and this is Ezekiel talking, and I looked up, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north of the great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, a brightness about it, and out of the mist, therefore, out of the mist thereof, as the color of ember, out of the mist of the fire. Also, out of the mist of fire, therefore, came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, which was, humans, not just a man. So, there's male and female. And others. No, just male and female. And their feet were straight feet. That's exactly what it says. And their feet were straight feet.
So that means their feet
were normals. So they had feet, normal feet. When you think of feet, you think of feet. And
normal feet.
Their soles, so the bottoms of their feet were like soles of a calf. So like a hoof. And they sparkled like the color of burnished brass.
So burnished brass is kind of like the after effect of
think of bronze.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides. They had four faces.
4 faces.
And
guys.
their wing. And this is weird. And okay, look.
Skip that one.
And they had 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went.
Their wings were together, and they
they turned not when they went. They went everyone straight forward.
So that when they moved all together. Is what I'm hearing.
As for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the faces of a man, and the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the faces of an ox on the left
one
side.
One of them had the face of a lion. On the left side, they had a face of an ox.
No, they all had these faces.
They all had these faces.
Yeah. So it was it's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. My phone just died. They had, okay.
Actually, before we go super ahead, can you tell them the Bible verse that's in this?
This is Ezekiel 1, verse 3. Or Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 3.
Okay, so if you're wanting to read,
it's almost over. I'm just going to say the whole thing.
If you want to, read it on your own. Now.
Past this part or before this part?
Or, whatever. Go ahead, and the chapter is Ezekiel 1.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3. So we started on chapter 3, and we read down to, what's the last chapter? So they know.
12.
Chapter 12. So we're kind of just reading the parts that we believe that could be aliens.
Or people say that it's aliens. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm almost done, so don't worry. They had 4 had the face of an ox. At the left side, they had also 4 of the faces of an eagle.
Wow.
Thus their faces and their wings were stretched out upwards. 2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and there are 2 covered in their bodies. And they had this okay. When you think of a ball, okay, think of a spear. This is not a ball, this is a pig. Okay, think of the curvature. So there's it's rings on each side.
You could do that side.
No. No. Give me a pencil. I know this is a very crude drawing, but that is what it kind of looks like a penis. Anyway, that's what it looked like, and the creatures were in the middle.
You know what it kind of looks like? An atom.
It does. But that's what I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about. And these were just rotating back and forth.
And the interesting part about that is what I'm hearing is because if you look at it in a religious state, that's a big deal. Because that's
that's a vision stating of like what the war that I'm pretty sure it was a war. Because then this was like saying that the peace will come and
yeah, it's a vision from God to Christians
to Ezekiel.
To Ezekiel, it's important to us. But if you're looking at it as like not a religious state, people really think
it's aliens,
and that would make sense.
And you mentioned that big ball of fire, as it says in the Bible text.
Yeah, and in the Bible there's a lot of these. Like if you look at it, I think it's like.
I'm pretty sure this is
There's a couple more, I'm pretty sure, because they talk.
Well, it talks about angels
and
being not exactly what like there's angels with 100 eyes, angels that look like normal people. There's angels that look like Zorro, the DC villain, the big starfish.
Yeah, a lot of them. That's just because that's in religious terms. But if we're talking about this Bible verse, Ezekiel 1, what like standing out to me, because we're both Christians here. Yeah. We believe in that, but if we're looking at it not in a a religious text, when I think of that, I think of maybe like how the Egyptians talked about things that they didn't understand.
Yeah, and that's probably they like the sun coming out. No, that's natives.
Kind of like how do you explain this? Kind of like if you think of it as like, okay, you go back in time to the Egyptians, right? Mm-hmm. You pull out a pistol. They're not gonna understand what that is because it's too complicated for their time. You know what I mean?
This is my boomstick.
Yeah, they're gonna think of it as that, and they're gonna draw it the best as they can. They will draw it correctly, but it's basically I feel like it was so hard to them to fathom what he was like. Fathom. Whatever. Yeah. It was hard for him to understand what he was writing.
Yeah.
So he might have wrote it out like what he thought it looked like. It honestly could be a UFO that he saw. Yeah. But in the religious state, we think of it as that.
It could be angels from a religious standpoint.
Do you kind of...
I get what you're saying, and I kind of agree.
But like in a religious state, it's definitely, I think, angels.
Probably. Okay, are we moving up a little bit?
We will move up.
Okay.
We're going to start getting kind of into the territory after, we talked about the triangle. We talked about a little bit in the Bible. The Illuminati could possibility be a part of this.
Step on my foot again.
Sorry.
I'm going to choke you out.
Dang, man. Hateful.
You stepped on my foot.
This is hate, man.
No, this is...
There's a lot of things, like, have you heard about the cowboy incidents with the cowboys?
Oh, you mean like...
Right.
You spit on my face.
Have you heard of the cowboy incident?
Isn't it like where people would go missing and like crops and stuff and cows would go missing?
That's kind of going modern, but like the cowboy incident is when you're thinking of, it's back like in the time when cowboys didn't exist yet, but they call it the cowboy incident because what it was is these people that they called crazy would see things like kind of like around the Pilgrims time, like in the middle of cowboy time and Pilgrims time when we didn't develop the land all the way. They would see things. There's a famous like quote that this pilgrim talks about her kids and they see something in the sky. And she says it looks like what you said, that oval shaped thing. But she sits there and she's like, they're trying to explain it. And the only thing she says is it looked like a metal bird. That's all that she could say.
It's an airplane.
It could be. But, do you know when alien stuff got really popular?
Probably the 80s.
80s?
Because that's when the thing came. No?
I
should know this. We did a podcast on it.
I'm talking like when it got... when people...
Probably World War.
When people started actually seeing things. Because if you talk about World War One, right, like you were going to say, World War One, a quote that's in World War One is, they arrived on horses and left on planes, right? Mm-hmm. World War One was actually not originally called World War One. It was the Great War. But getting off topic.
Sorry.
They don't talk about UFOs during that. Mm-hmm. It was actually World War II by the end of it. And the fun part about it is that when you read the German, because Hitler was definitely crazy.
When you read Mein Kampf.
When you read Mein Kampf, he's very crazy, but he hired these scientists to test on people. And I know people are gonna say this is just not a theory, but like
game.
Don't want to get copyrighted.
Oh yeah. Sorry. A bad game theory. No.
No.
A bad game quarrel.
So you know how like Hitler hired all these
Yes.
like German scientists, and a lot of them studied on people like
Nazi scientists.
like on like Jewish children, like twins
It's
and
getting dark.
brains and all that stuff. What about these scientists that were building like these planes? Because if you read about it, Hitler was the very first kind of guy that was like, I got an idea. I'm gonna build a plane that can fly faster, and that's what he did. He was he built that before we could get to it.
The Hindenburg.
And so a lot of us, like a lot of people believe Hitler would have visions from aliens. Like aliens kind of manipulate our system. So like that's why the Illuminati is formed.
Illuminati.
So like with the triangle thing, they say that the Illuminati. So can you hold your fingers up? I can kind of explain it a little better if somebody does it.
Like this?
The aliens are like the sky. People are here, and then in the middle is us. So like
We're not people.
how the middle works is like the upper class. So the whatever. Anyways, we're gonna get off topic. We can talk about this later, but they say that the Illuminati kind of runs the aliens, kind of works together because they kind of run everything.
It's people from the future. I'm telling you.
It could be.
I'm telling
but
you.
I believe that they kind of like, make everyone kind of run.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
They're
Yeah.
running. They pull the strings on us, and they're like
We're puppets.
puppets, and they kind of like manipulate us to try to
Cue the puppet master. No.
to push our agendas to the way they want it. But
We get canceled.
we might. But
What?
I'm saying why this was such a thing is because if you look at the rocket scientists, we stole German rocket scientists and Russia did. And, we built rockets.
Mhm.
So, like, at the time, we did not know this technology existed. But these scientists that come out of nowhere know how to build these things. So people believe that these German Nazi scientists were getting help from Hitler that was getting help from the aliens or whatever. And
That we're getting help from the people in the future. That we're getting help from Bigfoot. That we're getting help from the Loch Ness Monster. That we're getting...
from so right after World War II, so we stay off topic, right after around World War II, it ends. A lot of Americans get sent home with like PTSD, all this diagnosis and stuff that could manipulate some of like what they were thinking, because if you look at it that way, they were thinking differently because they don't, because they have
Light bulb.
they got all this PTSD, and you know what is PTSD? If you
I have no idea. It's say I don't really know what it is.
PTSD is kind of like a thing that like so
It's like trauma from experiences in the war that
not even just wars, anywhere. So like let's say Conley, a grenade went off behind you and you had like
oh my god
and you got like PTSD from it. Your brain, every time you would hear maybe like a firework go off,
the microwave going off
or something loud, it would transfer you back to that time. So people believe maybe some of these people that seen it had it after the war, so they would see like something flying in the sky like a bird, and they would think of it as a plane, but they couldn't explain like what the plane looked like.
So sorry, were you done?
Yes.
Okay, so what just popped in my brain, okay, what if PTSD is planted memories from being abducted by aliens? And every time you hear something that triggers your memory, it's like flashbacks to when you're getting not probed, because that's weird, when you're getting experimented on by aliens, and it's just like because they're messing with your brain, it's like clashing, like your electrons in your brain are like clashing, and it makes you remember or remember non-actual events that happened.
Oh, and to give you guys a head up, sorry, we're on AD now, after Christ or after Michael Jackson or whatever Conley said.
Before Michael Jackson.
After whatever. We're on the modern time now, so
Yeah.
we're getting there where we're going to start. Oh, what I'm going to say is PTSD is a real thing.
Yes, it is. Just a theory.
It's just I have multiple family members with it, but like, I guess for me, a good show that I've been watching lately, and it's really old, is Unsolved Mysteries. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Only you, the viewer, can help. Anyways, they talk about aliens in there.
No.
And how these people get abducted. One of the things I watched was, it was really old, and Conley, go ahead and read that name because it's a little hard for me. Hold on, let me say the year. It's 1967. Go ahead.
1967 in the Lake Woods in Manitoba.
Manitoba.
Oh,
This guy comes out right after World War II. He's very honest. He's an honest Jew because I'm being serious. He's a Jewish man. He was very honest. He actually He drew. But like, he's out in this woods, and he's in a woods where there's a lot of planes flying by from like American stuff.
sorry, I thought you were gonna say he was in a lot of forests with a lot of woods, and there was a lot of wood in there. I don't know why I thought that's what you were gonna say.
So in this woods, there's a lot of American and not American. Sorry,
there's a lot of wood.
Not American. Sorry, but there's a lot of army presence there. That's weird, dude. But there was a lot of army presence there. Like, I'm talking like planes would fly by. So when he first saw this, he was thinking that it was like one of the planes that kind of like crashed. And he kind of had like a knowledge of machinery. So he draws out. And I wish I could show you guys the image. What I will do is I'll tag a link to the bottom where you guys can look at it. And so, because the image is on there. But,
Elliot, that is a phallic object you're drawing. He's just
sorry, hold on. I'm drawing the way of like what he drew, and he draws it way better because
he's looking at pregnant Among Us character.
It does. Shut up.
Turn it the other way.
This is not But anyways, what I'm getting at is if you see that he goes up to him and he's like, "Hey." He talks to him in German and he talks to him in in American and everything else, because he talks to him in 3 different languages, and he asks him, "Hey, can I help?" And he gets close to him and he sees the door. When he yells at him, "Hey, do you need help?" The door's open, and he sees them for a minute, and he can't really see him because it was like very bright.
Mm-hmm.
The door's closed. And he's like,
like a flashbang went off.
He was like, "Okay, this is weird." So he stands there and looks at him, thinking maybe they can't speak my language, so I'll wait and maybe they'll write something. So he stands there. The ship starts moving, right? Like
rotating.
But it has these little there's an engine part, whatever, that hits him in the chest, and he's burned like this. And there's a picture of it where he has a little dot, like 6 dots in his chest, and he hits the ground, and he's burnt. He first doesn't tell anyone because the ship flies off, and he's like, people are gonna think I'm crazy. He gets up and he's really sick, and he starts walking down, and he doesn't want to tell people because people are gonna think he's crazy. But what he does is he goes and asks these people, "Hey," the doctor's like, "Hey, what happened to you?" And he tells them, "Oh, I was messing with a fire," because he didn't want to be considered crazy.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "What really happened?" And he told them the story, and they called him crazy. He got fired from his job. His kids got picked on. Like, he lost everything. And this, I mean, he lost everything. Like, I mean, why would you make up a story? Why would he lie about this and lose everything? Like, if that was going to be me and I was lying, I would eventually just tell the truth so I could get my life back on track. No. But he did not. Like, he literally, like, at a point, people would knock on his door asking him, so he left papers out on his doorstep so they can look at his book. There's a book out for it, and it's very interesting. But what I'm getting at is he definitely saw something out there. And you said you had something from World War II too, right?
No.
You really don't?
I don't know.
I thought you had something you wanted to... I thought you had something here.
That's not... that. Oh, yeah! Okay, so there was this man called George Abundiki. I'm so sorry I butchered that name. George was a silent hero, so he says. He says that he was abducted by aliens during World War II because they needed a trooper who was not of this alien race to help them fight for it. And so they took him from battle during World War II, and he was put on the moon. And there was this war happening with this alien race. Now, I don't believe this, but he says that that he had a shell, gun shell, from when he was, because they gave him these new weaponry, because obviously a World War II gun is not going to do anything against these aliens that have severely advanced futuristic technology. And so they put him on the moon, and he says, "Yeah, I killed those." Guys, but he doesn't say guys. He says B word. Anyway,
So killed aliens.
yes. And he said, I took the body with me on the ship, and then they knocked me out. And next thing I know, I was unconscious in my own house. They said I was in a coma for 4 months. And recently, so it's skipping ahead a long time. Recently, probably maybe a year and a half ago, he just came back, like he came online and said that he just got abducted again because they needed the same warrior to come back again and fight on the moon again.
And for my question is so like we know the moon landing, right?
Yes.
And we know Area 51. A lot of people
Yes.
say that it was filmed on Area
Yes.
51 and it's fake. I could believe that.
Like, what if Area 51 is just like a Hollywood
Site so they can film all this stuff so they could.
I can't think what it's called.
I think they definitely faked it, and I think they actually did. I think we landed on the moon.
Because the astronauts say that we never went on the moon.
I think I feel like they did.
No, the actors, the people, I can't remember his name.
You want to know why I think we did? But I feel like this is what we did, and this is a theory. A weird theory, but it's a theory. When we're up in space, like when we go up in space, can things like, move like this?
No.
When you look at the pictures, the flag is moving.
Yeah.
Like any picture you look at, the flag is moving.
Mm-hmm.
There's some pictures out there where if you look really closely at the helmet, like in the astronaut's point of view, you can see the astronaut with like a camera and like a film set behind them. If you look very carefully in some of these pictures, I don't know if it's true. They could be photoshopped, but what I'm saying is, I think we landed up there and our astronauts were killed by aliens because they own the moon.
And they're alien.
And I feel like what our government did was, oh crap, if the American people hear this, we're going to have to go to war because, we're going to be scared. So what they did is they went and filmed this for 2 reasons. To trick Russia because, we were on a race with them.
Mm-hmm.
So
they technically got there first, though.
Up in space, but not
Yes.
to the moon first. So we wanted to trick them.
I think they did.
We were the first ones to go on the moon.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm saying that we tricked them to...
Mm.
We tricked them to make sure they didn't find it. Because if they found it, they would go to war to, get that technology or they would do something so they had to have an advantage against us.
Mm-hmm.
So we tricked them, and the people up there were killed, so they did cover-up agents to go and live their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they say, oh, we never landed on the moon. Because they're covered-up agents, and they might have some Alzheimer's. So they might not remember why they're, living this or whatever. I'm just saying, I feel like that could be a thing.
I feel like, you said Area 51. I feel like Area 51 does not have aliens in it. It has advanced technology. I feel like that the government has, because I feel like that the government has produced mass amounts of futuristic technology that we are not known to, and that's what is in Area 51.
Like, look at half of our new technology. We have, probably the strongest, Air Force, Navy, and stuff, because we have all this new technology,
But is it really new, or is it...
alien?
No, I'm not quite getting at it, but I think that they just have advanced technology that they're not sharing, and they're hiding it, and they keep advancing and advancing to keep this seem like we are not the... I'm trying to... my brain...
Well, for me, I think, we use the technology that we found from, certain alien crashes, like the one in New Mexico and the one from, certain areas where these balloons got destroyed.
Yeah, balloons.
Weather balloons. they take this they take the pieces of the ship and they put it into new technology, like the Black Hawks, certain, like, they go super fast so people can't see them, or like the new jets and stuff, like they can manipulate this and build it so our technology's advanced. But I agree, I think they do have technology in there that they're not showing us, like lightsabers.
Not the candy, lightsabers.
Yeah.
These things. Pulls out an actual light. Cut you.
Oh. Anyways, I agree with you on that statement.
Okay.
I think you're getting kind of close, like you're about to kiss me or something.
Oh, no, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, why would I do that?
Anyways, the last thing I feel like is...
Wait, you're gonna do this round? All right. No, I'm kidding.
No, I feel like the ending of the story is that I think there's something out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like UFOs, because if you look at it, 1970s oil rigs, they took pictures of these ships that were leaving the ocean, because I feel like they don't come from the sky. I feel like they come from the ocean. Okay, you got to pick on me now? Anyways, I feel like they come from the ocean. Like they...
I think...
Like they...
You're trying to say something.
But I feel like they live in the ocean and don't come from outer space. Like, they actually just live in our ocean. Like, in the deep parts.
I think that the, like, Atlantis, so-called Atlantis, is, like, ancient alien technology.
We haven't found it yet.
I know. Well, actually, yes, we have.
Huh.
My brain is just...
Well, anyways, I feel like the alien... I feel like they come from our oceans. Like, they have a... Like, they use the old destroyed pyramids to kind of, like, teleport in and out.
Yeah.
And go to their home world.
Like, wasn't there, like, something where they said, like, this ship that looked like a submarine, like, arose from the water?
And we'll be using those images as our, front page, and I'll post the article in below because it's a really interesting article. I'm going to thank Brent Garrett for showing us this article. It was very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it is government hidden from us.
Yeah.
And it just got released. And some of them have information like, don't let this be seen, or...
Like, it's redacted as well.
Yeah. Well, anyways, let's end it here.
So, no,
Oh,
because
okay.
we're at the present now.
Well,
Even though it wasn't in the present, it was in 2014?
no, these images came from the 19...
I'm not talking...
Oh.
I'm talking about my life experience with the UFOs.
Supposedly Conley here has a UFO experience. So
Okay.
I'm ready to hear this.
It was in the middle of summer. 4 weeks after the 4th of July. So not the beginning, not in the middle of summer, at the end. I was on my trampoline. It was probably 9:30, so it was dark. I was jumping on my trampoline, and my parents were watching The Mummy, something with a mummy, and it had...
The Mummy, the movie?
I think it was The Living Mummy, and I was like, this is bogusly boring. And I'm like, I'm going to go jump on my trampoline at night. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I was practicing my kung fu kicks in the air. And I noticed that there was this, like, it's pitch blackness outside of my field of view. And I just see this orange, like, orb in the sky. And
You
I'm
don't
like,
think it could be a plane or a satellite?
dude, that is so nasty.
I'm sorry.
Dude just crapped his pants.
Do you think it's a satellite or like a...
No, because it's never, like, if it's a satellite, like, I would see it again, like, because my window is, like, straight out of that view, and
Yeah.
I never see anything out there. I always look outside your windows, see if there's UFOs. But you never know what could be watching.
So you believe that you saw an alien? Like,
I don't believe that I saw an alien. It could have been, like, a lantern, but why would...
UFO?
But, yeah, same thing. But why would they be releasing lanterns at 4 weeks after 4th of July?
I have no clue.
And, like, it couldn't have been a firework because no fireworks went off that day. And it would have been a loud explosion. But I didn't hear this. But, like, I've never seen anything after that. Now, So I obviously saw this, and
Crapped himself.
no, I was like, "That's so cool! Look at this!" And so I called for my father, and he came out there, and he's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "I don't know. I think it's a UFO." And he's like, "No, it's a lantern," and walked away. And I'm like, "Well, that's one weird looking lantern." And I go into my room, or as I'm walking, I turn around and it's gone. Up to my room. Well, okay. So I'm walking, I get into my gate, and then walk on my sidewalk, and I turn around, and it's gone. I'm like, okay, that's probably a fire, it was probably a lantern or something. And I go back up to my room, and I check outside one more time, and it's there, but instead it's like a purplish blue. It's in the same place, just sitting there, just chilling. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna get abducted by aliens. And then I had nightmares that night.
So I guess by the end of this,
and there are no radio towers near my area, so.
A good film my uncle showed me was called these people get their minds changed. This therapist, she does her therapy on these people, and they all see these things that abduct them, like owls. They only see owls. But when she starts...
Who?
Only owls.
Who?
Anyways, she
No, here.
She looks at them and she starts...
Looks at who?
She starts talking to them and they're in their trance. And she's like, so, what do you see? And when she breaks this image, one guy's sitting in his bed. He lifts up his stomach and he stands up and he starts screaming. He's like, it's not my family. It got my family. It's in my house. It's in my house. And he's screaming and he's crying. And there's other ones that are doing the same thing. Like every patient she had a woman that said the same thing. But she stands up and starts physically attacking herself because she's terrified. She opens her eyes and she's like, I don't want to go home. They're going to get me. And she couldn't ever ask them what it was because they couldn't explain it to her.
That could be the same thing like what I was talking about, like the PTSD thing.
Or
Also, we never talked about crop circles. You want to talk about that real fast?
Yeah, we will in a minute. But the guy, and this is why I brought him up, he was so startled in what he saw.
What guy? The guy from World War II?
No, the guy I was talking to you about right now. He was so startled about this owl that
okay. I was like...
that he saw, that he basically, she gets a call from the police department to come and talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking to him and he has a gun. And he has like kids and stuff. He kills his whole family and himself because he was so scared. And he basically told her, I don't want these things coming for my children. So like at the end it happens and she goes in there and the officers are like, you gotta stop what you're doing. You're killing people. So knock it off. But she didn't listen and she kept on doing it because, she wants to know what's going on. And supposedly she got abducted by him. So maybe they cover up things when you get too close to knowing them. Anyways,
we just go missing.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So you talked about crop circles, right? There's only been one in time that was actually a real crop circle. You want to know what they say a lot of crop circles are now?
What?
Farmers that do it on purpose to get fame from like TV and stuff. Be like, I had a crop circle. Mm-hmm. So they make it. Or it's teenagers that are like partying and they go out there and they like make them the funny like aliens, you're out there.
Yeah.
So they believe a lot of crop circles are fake. Mm-hmm. But there is a group of people that think they're real. But I guess for me, I think those are fake. You, on the other hand?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I would say
Yeah,
that.
I know. I mean, I never really believed in... But, like, how do you explain, like, cows disappearing and stuff? And then find, like, just straight up, like, dry bones? Like, just find...
That comes from Skinwalker Ranch. Skinwalker Ranch has... We talked about skinwalkers, but they have a lot of alien sightings there.
UFO sightings, not aliens.
And they have... no, aliens too. Mm-hmm. They talk about the skinwalkers, how they could be aliens coming from the underground, like, pearl... But
check out our Skinwalker video that we reviewed 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago.
Check it out.
Check it out.
It has it's interesting because I was watching a video on it actually. They had
Excuse me.
They had a group of scientists that don't believe in the paranormal or anything like that. So when they were doing this, the second year they lived there, they started seeing all this, and they looked at this cow that was cut in two. They looked at it and was like, "This is perfect cutting. Like, you can't do this anywhere else."
It's so precise, yeah.
And they saw things out there that they literally became believers, but they could never get it on film because when they would use their cameras would glitch out, or their things to get them home would freak out, so everything would fuzz over. But you would hear things. Like, they have videos where you would hear them, and you would hear a thing go, "Ah!" And then you would see lights. Like, the farmer, if you watch Skinwalker Ranch on History Channel, if you watch it, you see these he sends drones up there, and the drones hit something, and they kind of like span, looking like a ship that's invisible. So, like, yeah, I don't understand the cow thing. Maybe they do it for, like, blood. They need the blood or the hide for something. Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe they use it because they don't have cows on their planet. And maybe
milk.
Maybe they use these. There's maybe something in the cows that is really expensive.
The gas. Their flatulence.
Maybe. And sorry to say this, I'm gonna go back a little bit. So remember the one guy I was telling you about with the burns on his chest?
Yeah.
They went back to the site, and there was this big circle there of burnt glass, and they sent radiation detectors there, and it was full of radiation. Tons.
Bro.
And they still didn't believe him.
Jeez.
They said that he did it all. But I don't know how a man could get radiation. But anyways, I just thought that was the interesting part. Do you think we got everything we want to talk about?
Yeah, there's a lot of what I wanted to talk about.
So, I'm sorry.
I'm drunk, guys. I'm sorry.
He's drunk on yahoos in life. Anyways, at the end of it, how do we feel about aliens? Do we think aliens are real? Do we think... let's drop that one. Do we think UFOs are real? Do we think these people's experiences are a real thing? I feel like for the UFO part, for me personally, I'm 50-50. I think there's something out there. I think there is stuff out there that we...
I mean, our universe is so large. There has to be something.
We're literally like
we are one planet.
We're a speck.
Yeah.
In a big world.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm getting at. Like, I think it's just like...
Yeah.
I think there's stuff out there, but I don't believe in UFOs.
Yeah. I believe that...
And for the people, I think the people definitely seen something. I don't know what. I've definitely seen something.
I feel like that they definitely think that they saw something, and that it drives them crazy that they, like, when you think of people who get abducted by aliens, like, they are freaking out, like they're almost like crack addicts. Don't you? From what I've seen, it's what?
I haven't seen it in person, but yeah.
Or for like TV and stuff, and you know.
Yeah.
But I believe that they did say they did see something, but I don't think it was aliens. I think that they are just paranoid out of their mind. Like when you go, like when you think you see something, like in your house, like you're paranoid, but nothing's really there. But I think it could just be like paranoia, and they're just paranoid out of their mind, and they don't know what to think. So they're like aliens. But no, I don't believe. I believe I saw something that night, but I don't believe it was aliens. I think it was something. Just I don't know. It was weird. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, that's how we feel about UFOs. Yeah. Leave something on the comments down below.
And let us know if you've seen any aliens, or if best friends with one.
Have a great day, guys.
I'll see you later, Nerdinators.
Okay.
You can click the freaking button.
It's not...